Good morning everyone, Jerry here. Today we are going to make t-shirt yarn, and actually we're going to make it with this t-shirt material that I have. When I was getting ready to move, I had a big pile of t-shirts and I knew that at some point I would be making yarn with it. So I basically cut the top off of it so I wouldn't have the extra bulk of the arms and the sleeves, you know, and the top part. All these t-shirts, so I have this big pile here. So all these t-shirts had some kind of plastic decal or whatnot up on the top where the arms were. And it's preferable not to use that when you're making t-shirt yarn. You can use it. I have used it. I'll show you some. So this had a kind of a lightweight imprints on the top, so I used it. So you'll get a little bit when you're crocheting with it or knitting, whatever you're going to do with it. You'll get a little bit of the black look in there. I mean, I don't really care. You can see it's perfectly fine, and every so often it just has that little mark. Anyway, I just wanted to let you know that. The other thing I wanted to tell you is that it's better to use, I should get a lighter t-shirt. It's better to use a t-shirt that does not have a side seam. So you can see this one is just a little piece because there was a huge thing on this t-shirt, so it's just a small little bottom. But if it has a side seam, I have used that too. This is what you'll wind up with when you make your yarn, little nubbies in it. And actually they can be quite cute if you're making a ratty rag bag or, you know, something a little more organic looking. That is kind of cute. Plus, I do sometimes just tie my t-shirt yarn together and I leave the little, let's see, I think I have something here. So yeah, I do have a little piece here. So I made some green, light green t-shirt. I've already used a lot of this t-shirt yarn, and then I leave it. I love those little nuances of things sticking out. Anyway, there's lots of things you can do with t-shirt yarn. So for now, I'm going to just show you how to make it. And I'm going to use one of these pieces. I'm not going to use this one because it's too dark. Let's use this gray one so you can see what I'm doing. The supplies you're going to need for this project are a ruler, and I like to use a ruler that goes all the way across. So in this case, this one does not. So I have this yardstick. All right, so we're going to say a ruler. You can use a pair of scissors, or you can use one of these rotary cutters. I'm going to use a rotary cutter. All right, let's pretend, okay, you have a good imagination. Let's pretend that the top is on here, the neckline and the sleeves. So you're going to go just below that, and I'm just going to straighten this ratty edge up. If you want to be really thrifty, you can use part of the hem. And what you have to do is just get underneath that stitch, that zigzag stitch, and then take your scissor and just cut. I'm going to use my bigger scissor. Just cut all the way around right next to the zigzag. Okay, I think you get the idea. But then you're going to get like an extra inch and maybe inch and a quarter. I'm not going to do that for today's video. I'm just going to cut this bottom off. I have so many t-shirts, and I'm going to try to cut it straight. And you can see this is very wonky. So I'm just going to cut it straight. And you could definitely save this and use this in some kind of a slow stitch project. So I do save them. The next step is to fold this because we're going to get ready to cut it. And make sure it's nice and flat. And I just encountered a little wrinkle in here, so I just wanted to get that straightened out so that when I cut it, the strips will be nice and straight. All right, so now you can use your scissor and you can eyeball it, or you can use your rotary cutter. And I'm going to use the rotary cutter because I like it and I'm lazy. I like my strips more on the narrow side, and let me just show you this one. So this one I did, I don't know, yesterday, and it is pretty narrow. So it's less than 1/4 of an inch. So depending on the thickness of your shirt, if you have a really thick shirt, you're going to want to cut your strips a lot thinner so that you're not going to wind up with this big, fat, bulky yarn. If your t-shirts are very thin, you can get away with cutting it a little wider. I'm going to cut this one. I was debating on 1/2 an inch. I'm going to go 5/8. I know that's kind of crazy. I don't want to kind of go 3/4, and I don't want to do 1/2. So I'm going to do about 5/8. And it really helps to have this ruler. So I'm just going to stop about 1 inch shy, a little bit, looks like a little bit more, shy of the edge. And I'm pushing the t-shirt yarn out of the way so that I can line my ruler back up on and cut the next piece. If I left my ruler, if I left the fabric there, I can't really see the line. I can, if I stuck my head down there really close, I could see the line, but this is just easier for me to just do this. Okay. So I'm going to fast forward through this. And when I get to the end, I'll come back. I cut all the way across, and when you open it up, you have this beautiful fringe. So now we have to cut it apart. So what I like to do is open it up. Yeah, easier said than done. On one end. And then I lay it on my table. And you're going to have to keep adjusting it so that you can cut it. You want to be careful not to cut something that's underneath it. So you can use your rotary cutter, or you can use your scissor. Come closer. Okay. And you're going to start by cutting on a diagonal to get your first strip started. And this, you could just trim that off. All right, and before I start cutting, I'm just going to show you. Here's the strip. Okay, here's the one I just cut. All right, I put you back out a little bit because I want you to see this. So this is the piece I just cut. It was right over here. And I just cut it on an angle, and I wanted to show you that it's going to go all the way around. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to keep cutting here. You can use your rotary cutter, you can use your scissor, it doesn't matter. So just keep cutting straight across. And then I'll be back after I cut all the way across, almost to the end. Okay, I've cut all the way down. This is the last bit. And I'm cutting across. Okay. And now, just going to cut this last piece. Okay, my dogs just barked like a lot. So I'm sorry, right in the middle of that. So I'm just going to lay it back down so you can see what I did. And it was connected right there. So I just cut it off on the diagonal, and now I've just got this one long strip. Now the next thing you're going to do is pull it. You're going to stretch it. It's going to make it curl over on itself and become yarn. So now I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to measure how many yards I got out of it. I'll be back.